Hey guys, welcome to IG Live, and this is a really special one, even though they're all kind of super special, but this one's really special because we are here with Sherri, and Sherri is the owner of the most amazing store called Mcmullen. Wait, yeah,
Mcmullen.
What? You guys know I have no memory. Anyways, and we've only been working together for
15 years.
15 years.
15 years almost.
Of course, I wouldn't know if the name is plural or not because maybe in 20 years. But I'm really excited to be here with Sherri, and I'm going to be peeking at my notes because we have lots of good questions to ask her and questions that you guys have submitted. But what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about good stuff, like just good conversation, because there aren't a lot of good conversations happening out there to,
Right.
Twitter sphere and everything,
yeah.
things tend to be one way. And then we're going to talk about style because that's always really important. And when we talk about style, it's not about trends, it's not about ruffles or in or not, it's about how style makes you feel. And then we're going to talk about business too. I know that we have a lot of young designers and a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs that follow us. And a lot of them are going to want to know how you got started and how you've kind of broken through what I'm sure, like, before pandemic felt pretty overwhelming, just what was happening in our industry.
I know. So much needed to change anyway, so it was like a good time to reset, I think, last year, but we'll get into all of that later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk a little bit first about who you are, what you do out here, where you are,
Sure.
all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm Sherri Mcmullen. I'm the founder and CEO of Mcmullen Retail. We have a luxury retail business here in Oakland. I opened almost 15 years ago. And Amy and I, actually, we've been working together for almost 15 years. Tibi was one of the first brands that we carried in the store, and actually the only brand that we have in the store that we've carried the entire time. So we've really grown together.
I know.
You were 10.
It's great.
It's great. It's amazing. But I'm in this location I've been in for 3 years, which is in downtown Oakland. And this is actually our third location in Oakland. We had a really very small, intimate space when I first opened in 2007. And then I later grew to slightly larger space, and then we quadrupled the size that we're in now. And that just happened after our 10-year anniversary. So I thought, it's time to grow and expand on categories. But I have worked in the industry for a really long time. I was a buyer, studied business in school, did some corporate buying, and then I decided that I really wanted to do something on my own, and really sort of bringing, all of my passion and creativity, but also the business side, and create something for myself, for my family, and also I really wanted to make sure that the space was like a community space, because there was no social media when I started, and there was no website.
Yeah,
e-commerce.
I was thinking this morning, since I got up at the crack of dawn, I was trying to write out questions. I can be a little bit organized here. And I was thinking how 15 years ago, it was really daunting because that's when all of the big e-commerce players were coming to light. And that's where then the whole, you came into this industry at a time where it was really heightened that it was all about scaling. You were going to learn your elevator pitch, you were going to talk to VC guys who were going to scale you, everything was about volume, scale, algorithms, learning how to know your market and then go buy 1 million pieces or something to address it. And I know that having been so close to you all these years, that was such an overwhelming time when it was a lot of pressure. I remember we were constantly should we bring in investors?
Right.
And then we would bring in these investors, and I just hated them.
And you saw how, many of the brands that you started with that brought in investors, they changed their whole company, and many of them are no longer in business. But I love that you have really stayed true to that, and having, a family-owned business. You have, your warehouse, your shipping, your distribution. It's all in your hometown where you grew up. And I just love how you have really incorporated family into that. And we were just talking last night about how your team, like, you know so many intimate things about each one of your team members, and a lot of that gets lost in like really big companies. But it's nice to have sort of that intimacy and really knowing your people.
Yeah, because I think, you know, if you're going the route of being an entrepreneur and working for an entrepreneurial company, that is one of the big things that you're signing up for, you know, and because like I worked at American Express, I worked at Ogilvy, and they were great places, and I learned a lot. But you know, there's a different level of intimacy, but then also accountability that comes with working for an entrepreneur. You know, I mean, it is, you feel it. You know, at Amex, like if Harvey Golub or Ken Chenault was stressed about revenue, like, I mean, I was stressed, but I didn't lose sleep over it.
Right.
And I can say for certainty that Byron, Elaine, Tracy, like members of our team, they lose sleep over that shit. You know, it's real. It's as real for them as it is for the owners.
And it's consuming. I mean, it is a part of your life every single day. There's not a moment where you're not thinking about your business. There's not, even when you're on vacation, and you should be mentally, you know, on vacation, but you're still thinking about business and thinking about, you know, ways to grow and opportunities and new ways to reach customers. And, you know, I think some of the strongest brands and business owners are those ones who are willing to take risks and, you know, not be stuck in one place because you've been doing so well in that place for such a long time. It's like you have to evolve with the times.
You do. And I think one of the most, I mean, of course, the, sorry, my phone like kind of went out there. I think one of the most encouraging bright spots out of the pandemic has been that, you know, as a creative person, before, when someone talked to you about, you know, make sure you have a point of view and make sure you're very unwavering on your vision, it's kind of like I viewed that through the lens of, you know, if I believe that it's about full skirts, it's about full skirts, and I should like own that and embrace it. And then, you know, I saw it in a very singular way about creative ideas and then owning that. And now I've realized after the pandemic, well, sorry, very much in the middle of it, but what I've realized is that with all the shakeout, that what really came to light was that what is critical is that you stand by your vision, because it's really at the end of the day all that you have. And you have to really hone into it, lean into it, and be clear about who you are. And it's not about being creatively fulfilled as a result, but it's about, it actually proves to be the right thing, because what we've seen is that it's the right thing, and for anyone who hasn't done it, it's been a horribly wrong thing. And I think one of the reasons why what we've experienced as designers right now is that stores who are super focused, who have a really strong point of view, and store owners who have serious skin in the game, like not financial skin, but like mental skin in the game. You're posting all the time. You're, like you said, you might be on the beach, but you're constantly thinking like, what can I do? That's,
Absolutely.
And that makes all the difference. It's hard work.
It is. It's
but it's
a
good
lot
work.
of work, and you don't really think of it as work when you are in it and you love it. I mean, it's, you know, for a long time, you know, we were talking about this yesterday, but, you know, I didn't pay myself for a really long time because I was constantly like reinvesting money into the business. Because when I started, it's like, I started the business, it was me, you know, I was not married, I'm still not married, it's like not my family's money, it was taking a $50,000 friends and family loan and using my own money from working years and years in the industry and using that to create something that I knew would be successful because I was going to be invested in it, and not just the financial investment, but, you know, all of the work and all of the commitment and, you know, the ups and the downs, and trying to figure out like, gosh, are we going to make another season? I remember after the '08, the financial crisis, right? And I had just opened,
stressful.
and I thought, oh, okay, how are we going to get through another season? Because people are just not buying, or they're, and rightfully so, right? There was a lot of people hurting, and we saw it again this past year. But if you're really in it and you're thinking about, well, how can I do business in a really different way, and like get into the mind of your consumers?
Yeah, you've got to really, so many times a lot of people will really like chase something because like, okay, someone else has done it, and then we're going to do that, and we're going to be successful too. So if someone's doing all video, we're going to do all video. Or if they've got 3,000 new arrivals, we're going to have 3,000 new arrivals. And really, as sorry, my phone keeps fading out here. But really, what you really should be doing is looking at what they're doing. And yes, they might be successful at the time, but do they have like a weak spot that you can kind of insert into and crack open? And I think one of the really big weak spots that came about, that you really know it because you have your ears to the ground, is the number of customers or friends that you spoke to who've in the last like 5 years have made the comment that like, I hate shopping, it freaks me out, it stresses me out. And like, when did shopping become stressful? It became stressful when you started getting an inbox telling you that there were 7,000 new red dresses to choose from this hour. And that shit stresses you out. Like,
no one wants to go through that. That's right. Who wants to go through all of the new arrivals? And what the beauty of having like a specialty store is that it is highly curated. Like when I go to market, I'm thinking about,
because that was one of the questions that someone asked, is like, what's in your head when you're putting together
buying, and and I go to market about every month, or at least I used to. I was buying quite a bit, but I'm always thinking about like, where's the customer going? Why am I buying this? What's the intent? Is she going to work? Does she have? Is she traveling? Is she?
Yeah, because while you're talking, I'm gonna bring, because last night, I mean, guys, like I'm here doing this event, but I do love walking around shopping. And I think what's so exciting to me about Sherri's store is it's my closet. It's my closet that I have, and it's a closet that I want to have. And
it's one closet.
It's one closet. When I talk about creative pragmatism, we all know that's a balance between creativity and then where practicality meets. Like, that's beautiful. And Sherri, you like reside right perfectly in the middle of that. Like very perfectly in the middle of creative pragmatism. So there's one item in here I won't buy, so I won't like call it out because that would be rude, but 99% of everything in here I want to own. And so I'm gonna, while you're talking, I'm gonna pull out like the merge closet.
The product. But I am really thinking about, from each designer, I'm thinking about where she's going and how we're going to create looks from multiple designers, how we're gonna put those all together, because that's how our stylists style, that's how we shoot with our ad campaigns, and we like to mix and match, and I think that's just how women dress. It's how I dress every day. I'm wearing mostly Tibi, but I also have on a Rick Owens underpiece that I've had in my closet forever, or I might pull out Proenza shoes. So it's how most women dress, and that's the beauty of having a specialty store, and one that's like curated, because you are thinking about, can I put this Tibi skirt with a Proenza top, or a Lisa Folawayo hand-beaded top with a Simone Rashad trousers.
Yeah, because here we have like the Simone trousers, which, when we talk about creative pragmatism, it is things that are modern, but they're still chill, and they've got like that hint of classic to them, and then a little bit of femininity, right?
Yes.
Definitely. I can't find a better word for that, but you know what I mean. So I love this Simone Rashad short here. And then, of course, like, we put it together with this tank top and then with the Tibi Liam blazer. And what I love is when I was back in your office snooping around, You had pictures of everything on the wall,
Yeah.
all the different items. So it really was like you were building. It was
A
your
closet,
wardrobe.
a wardrobe.
It wasn't like some random like, oh, and this is a woman that likes to dress like fairies,
Right.
and I'll like buy this for her. And it was your wardrobe,
Yeah.
and I think that clarity in what you like and your expertise there, like just being all of that at the best that you can be, allows other people to come in and recognize that.
Yes. And trust it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a part of the whole process. I literally cut out pictures. I take pictures of everything that I'm buying, even if I'm buying it virtually. I will save the pictures, send it to printer, print it, and I lay it out on the floor, and I take a look and I make sure that we've hit all of our trousers. Is this working together? And I only buy what I love. And it's the same thing that we talk about in the store with our stylist. It's like, only buy what you love. If a customer comes in and just like, I don't know, and it's like, it's not your piece, because there's going to be something else that you will love, and that should be your closet too. You should have pieces that you only love because you want to be able to pull them out of your closet 5 years from now and wear them again. Even if you put them away after a season, 3 or 4 years down the road, you're going to want to wear them again.
Yes.
So it's like,
Someone wrote to me yesterday, because I was talking about without fails and how I never say that they'll last forever, because it's amazing how you can go back in your closet and there's something that you wore to death, and then you pull it out and you're like, was the rise really that short?
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing lasts forever in that respect, but can you get a good like 3 to 5 years out of it and wear it so much that your cost per wear is that you should actually send me a check? but don't. But I'm just saying, that is so sustainable,
Right.
and it's about buying less.
yeah.
And not buying
Fewer,
in a
better.
chaotic way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like speaking of, I do love this. This
Yeah.
is Brenda, and
I love it.
I love it. And I think
It's
that,
very you too, I mean.
yeah, and I think what's great is, from a design point of view, that you are carrying things that complement each other so well. You know, it really, like, you should be able to see me in this. And I think in other designers you have, other female designers, you should be able to see them
Exactly.
in the clothing. Because I loved this. Like, this is our, the brand Koozie Cat Mother.
This.
But you have this top, and I would love it with this top. I mean, this is like the chic, like when we talk about mixing textures, this is like such a great way to do it. But we know that like, this is how I showed it with my sweater, right? But I'm definitely doing this.
Right.
And I loved it with this knee top as well. And so I think when you talk about buying things to know like where the customer's going,
Right.
I think that it's like, where are the multiple places that she can get use out of it? So if you are like having this one woof piece, this without fail, can you make it super dressy? Can you make it like general cocktail party?
Right.
And then can you chill it out in a way that I could walk down the street and no one, you know, assumes that I'm trying to hail a cab to go to a great event. I'm not going to.
And there are those emotional pieces that maybe you don't see yourself wearing, 20 times in the year, but you know you want to have it, and you know you're going to wear it and love it, and you may wear it 1 time a season or 2 times a season, and that's okay too, because there are just those emotional pieces. And that's what I think about too when I'm buying, and there are just those pieces that I have to take the risk and buy, even if I don't have the exact person in mind, even if I'm thinking, our core customer, is she going to buy it? But I love it so much, I think someone in the world will love it and they will buy it as well.
And I think one of the things too, from a shopping perspective, because the most DMs that I get are people thanking me that they've actually bought like 80% less. And I think for you and I, that's like good news to hear. That does not upset me. I'm really happy that people are buying fewer things out there. And I think though that when you really work off of this idea that you are buying with this closet in mind, that you've got your without fails, your in and outs, your had to haves, and you're buying things that when something like the K-top, if this has like such an emotional pull to you, the other thing I encourage people to do a lot is you don't wait until you have that event at 7 o'clock
That's
at night to buy, because that is when, like, I can name the shit outfits. My first date with this guy Hunter in Atlanta, of course, like his name was Hunter. But I remember the shitty outfit I went out and bought. Like, I was so excited about that date, and nothing fit. And they were these like
last minute. Absolutely. And then you don't feel good when you're in it, because you're like, I waited until 2 hours before I had this event, and it's not fitting right. I'm pulling on it.
It was a really shitty date. It was totally because of my outfit. I'm sure that's why he didn't call back. It had nothing to do with me. It's not you, it's your clothing. No, I'm just kidding. We're not that shallow. Okay, so speaking of, like, of course, the bias dress. You're wearing
I'm wearing it. Which I love.
It's so good.
And I'm wearing it with Birkenstocks, too, because, what we were talking about earlier is that you don't have to
super fancy it up.
Exactly, and think, oh, I can't wear this because it feels too dressy. Yeah. It's like, no, you can wear it with a jacket or.
And I love it with Lisa's
love it.
Shirt over it. So this is when, you really treat these things as like your amazing underpinning. So if you've got the great shirt in your closet, you don't have a great shirt, you want to come Sherri, you get this shirt, whatever. But there are just so many ways to take something this simple and keep it working. This I would say I would have in my closet forever. I don't even think this is 5 years. I would have it forever.
Yeah, forever, and it's just so flattering on every body type, because it's cut on the bias, and it's got the shoulder detail, which is also really flattering on the shoulders. And
And even this, is this area? Who is this? From Area. That's amazing. But even trying things like really mixing proportions, of layering something like this over it is super, super cool, because, of course there's like, as you keep pushing yourself, I love it when people, like, they start trying new things, and then like in a year and a half, they're just really going for it. And that's the thing, like that sweatshirty, amazing, sweatery, rhinestoney dress, but like over the other dress.
Right.
That's a good look.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like it's too sexy, because the whole back is out, because you've got this amazing layering piece underneath.
Yeah, it's great.
Or you wear
not.
it that
you
way,
love your legs,
right?
and you like own it. I hate my legs. I'm not going to do that, but if I loved them, I would be
exactly.
totally doing it. But I'm not. But whatever. But no shade, because I'm jealous. But it was interesting yesterday how many. When I think like back in the day, when we used to sell to all the department stores, they would describe their customer as like, oh, she's coming in and she needs an outfit. And they would never talk about like, oh, she's coming in and she needs like these pieces that she can wear all the time that are going to make her feel interesting and creative and modern, no matter what, no matter if she's at the grocery store or, wherever, dropping her kids off or going to her first day of school in college or as a teacher, whatever. We have a teacher in the audience. Yay. But, that's what I noticed yesterday is not one single person who came in was like, I need an outfit for this event.
Right. Yeah.
It was all like, I'm ready
everyone
for
was,
new.
I need a change. And I think so much of what came out of last year, we found that, women were saying, I'm going back into the world and I don't really love what's in my closet right now. So I'm looking for a change, and it's more of, not a couple of pieces, but it's really like, I want to, I'm a different person, so I want my clothing to reflect who I am today, and how do we help the customer find that?
And it wasn't specific either to like demographics or psychographics. It wasn't specific to household income.
No.
In fact, there were many women who came in who had a ton of bank. And as a matter of fact, that actually contributed to the problem, because they were so confused, because they were like, well, how can I have this closet that's filled with this Versace piece or this Dior piece, and this was from blah, blah, blah. And so like, therefore it must be a great closet.
Right.
Why can I not find anything to wear? Right. And it's because, of course, those items are beautiful and interesting and expensive and well made individually. And when they're for the right customer that matches them, they're extra good. But if that's not your style, then it's confusing and you've just wasted so much money, and that sucks. Right. At any level, like that sucks, and you don't want that. And then what I found is my best wardrobe was when I was in college and I had $0. And so everything I bought had to go through so many checkpoints. And my worst wardrobe came about when I started to make a little bit of money, but fast fashion happened at the same time. And that's when, like, I went off the rails. Like, there was just shit in my closet, and I could buy a lot of it for the first time. But it was like a lot of, just chaos.
Yeah.
And so really, like, no matter what income level, no matter where you are, buying with thoughtfulness, like knowing that, like, okay, if I'm going to live in a blazer, okay, if I have bank, maybe I'm going to buy the Liam blazer, and maybe I'll buy 2 of them or whatever. And if I don't, maybe this is what's going to be in my head, and I'm going to go find it on Vintage, and I'm going to be really excited. So it really is like shopping with a purpose.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, you know, what, as we're talking, why don't we bring out some of like the woofs that we live in, because Sherri is like a woof expert here.
This is Chanela. This is one of our stylists at Mcmullen.
And Chanela's wearing the Stella pant, and this is in the tropical wool. What size are you wearing?
I think this is a 2.
2.
Yeah.
And do you have it pinned up or anything?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So we see what a size 2 looks like. How tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Okay. So this is one. I mean, I was wearing this yesterday. I can't remember what I was wearing with it.
You were wearing it with that
sweatshirt.
Yep.
Right. Tan sweatshirt. So this can go either way, because you look like you're going out like on a date or something.
I wear it.
And if you threw a jacket over it, you're probably going to work. Like, it's really, these are like those fundamental pieces for your wardrobe that, you know, when you come to a place like Sherri's, like, we call these our without fails, and a couple of you guys asked me, you know, to explain again what is a without fail. And those are those items that in your closet, when you have that day where you just like, you know, I mean, you just get so angry because like you have nothing in your closet.
Right.
Or
lots
you have
of things,
yeah.
and you're like, what am I wearing? I don't feel like I have anything.
Or you have something to go to, and like if there's any day that you need to feel the most like yourself, it's going to be that day. So that's when you pull out this piece and you feel like your best self, for sure.
It's so easy to wear.
You know? And so when you come to a place like Sherri's, this is where you can get all those extra things with it, that if you've had this in your closet, and if you've had it, I mean, we first did these in, I want to say like spring of 2016. 20 was the first time that we, fall 2015. Anyway, a long time ago, right? But I have never gotten tired of them, because even when Tracy and Hannah and I are designing the line, we're always thinking, okay, if we're wearing the Stella pant, what are we going to do to level it up? Or what, even like when we did that pant, like then 2 years later we did it in a nylon. That was our version of leveling it up. And then,
And it's the same fabrication too. So if you're adding, if you have this pant from, you know, a few years ago, you can add the vest and then add a jacket for the season, and you've got a full look and you've got a full set, and it doesn't feel like it's the different color, the different fabrications, and so forth.
Yeah, and I think there's, you know, from a design perspective for you other designers out there watching this, because obviously Sherri's a great store that you probably want to be in. You know, I think that a lot of times you think that there is something too pedestrian about designing really, you know, for a closet. And what happens is, don't think of it as, this is not about merchandising. This is not about looking at algorithms. It's not about like getting reports from a team that is all wearing bad suits, not good suits, and telling you what they need more of. This is about really putting yourself into the process so that when you're designing something, you know that like, okay, if I did this tropical wool pant and I showed it on the runway with like this big white shirt, that you know as a human that maybe the next season you want to like fuck it up a little bit, you know, you want to do something new. And so maybe the next season, maybe you're into like weird lacy lingerie or something, and you know that like that's what you want to mix with the pant. And so when you let things come from the gut, and when you think about it in that closet mentality, it doesn't constrain you. It actually really frees you up to create great stuff that your customer will understand, that you will understand.
Yep.
Because that's always better for you.
Yeah.
And your customers are bought
point of
stuff,
view.
you know, and you can come back and be like, less.
And we know what you know, because that's our job. Like we know what you have in your closet if you bought from us or if you shared with us. So we're going to help you think about that. It's like, no, but last year you bought that piece that's going to work with this piece this year. And
you can touch Sherri like that. You're not an algorithm.
Right.
And how many times like...
And we're in the dressing room with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like how many times like I'll buy a sweater and they're like, you know, you'll get an email and you're like, hi, you like this blue sweater, so you'll love this green hammer. And I'm like, I have no idea what that fucking connection is. Like, why are you suggesting a hammer?
And I've also never bought from you before, so why
exactly. Like, that's
why am I
bullshit.
getting
So
something
Sherri
saying we miss you because I've never bought from you? Somehow they've confused the algorithm.
Right.
They think I'm someone else.
Right. That's so rude. Rude. And then I wanted to show you these two because you had these on earlier with the dress. I would totally wear them with those black pants.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys, these are Bottega, I'm assuming, because you've acquired a really good Bottega shoe wardrobe that I see back in there. We wear the same size,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if you ever want to ditch
can
and
share.
I'll take it. Those zipper ones were really cool looking. But these are really, really, really great forever. And so a lot of you guys have asked me, like, should I invest in this pant because, you know, I'm worried that it's going to, you know, go out of style. And what we know is that when trends come about that, like sometimes it might seem trendy because you look on Instagram and you're like, okay, name the influencers that aren't wearing the boot. But at the end of the day, there's a real functionality to it.
It's comfortable, it's functional, it's timeless. It's a boot that you can wear with dresses, you can wear them with trousers. I have them on with the slip dress, and that's how we'll wear them when it gets cooler. Right now, we're in California, so we're in between seasons. It feels like fall and spring, but I have them on with Birkenstocks. But this is a boot that you will not get tired of.
No, and I think the same, a lot of people ask me about jackets in the same way, blazers. Like, can I have too many blazers? And, you know, I think that really depends on if you are a blazer person. And I'm a blazer person. So I have my blazer to shirt ratio in my closet is way out of whack. And again, for young designers, this is where you really cannot put too much stock into what a cookie cutter merchandiser has to tell you. And I don't mean to throw too much shade on the merchandisers because I know that there are a lot coming down the pike who have a lot more interesting interpretive ways of approaching how a line should be built. But for us as designers, there are seasons where Tracy and Hannah and I are really in the mood for more pants, or we're really in the mood for more sweaters, and we're always in the mood for jackets. And so the balance is going to get out of whack. There's no, you know, because, I mean, you know from your past life, there was a real set ratio.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah.
We need 5 tops, 20 skirts, 100 dresses, this price point. That's what it is.
Yeah. So you
And
can't.
we were never in the store, so we didn't know what the customer wanted. So it was really, we're in the buying office. This is my previous life. But we do really know what customers have in their closet, you know, how to build on their wardrobe, because we're with them. You know, you're spending time with us, and it's really, like I said before, it's our job to know that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as one of the questions that we had and that we continue to get a lot is people ask me, they're like, well, how much should I listen to a store? You know, like they told me that they loved me, and then I came in to show them the line. They said that they loved it, and then they were like, okay, now change everything. And I think what you really have to think about, and this is hard because I know when you're first starting out, any of the stores that pay attention to you, you tend to get really excited about. And then you tend to rationalize, well, maybe this store isn't perfect for me, but it's a paycheck right now, and then I'll work with them, and then later on I'll ditch them and I'll move on, right? And but the thing is when you are looking for a new store to carry your line, this is about you are shopping them just as much as they're shopping you. And it really is critical that the brand matrix in the store match the aesthetic that you have as well. Because it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
It must be hard for you to be giving, I mean, it must be easy if you're giving feedback to someone who's showing you like a purple gigantic chiffon plunge neck skin tight dress. Because for them you're like, it's not right for me.
And maybe it's not right today, but it might be a line that I find interesting, but I don't necessarily see it in the store right now.
Right.
And that happens too with some, you know, young designers. When they show me the line, I'm like, I don't see it today, but I'm going to keep watching. And I do that. I mean, many times I'll just keep watching, and it may be 3 years down the road, I'm like, okay, it feels right now. And maybe I've changed a little bit of my mix, or I'm filling a hole in some way and need a sexy purple dress maybe,
Right.
you know, for that season, and it feels right.
But when it's really out of character, that designer might be more of like a one night stand. Sorry guys if my live keeps blinking out, but I haven't figured out how to change the timer on the sleepy thing. But yeah, so that's one of the things, is really recognizing, is your product right for that store? And the thing is it can be a really good store and your product's just not right for it, but it is right for another store, you know?
That's right.
So that is for sure a thing. And then sometimes the product isn't right because it's not there, it's not ready yet, but it might be the right aesthetic. And that, how do you give that
happens.
feedback?
That
'Cause that's gotta
happens.
be hard.
Well, I mean, I do see it with, like I said before, with some young designers, and sometimes I see it and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to buy it. That doesn't happen that often with brand new designers, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? I know I'm gonna have to work with them, and we're gonna go through this together. And that's what we're talking about, like partnerships.
Yeah.
And really, if you can see that this is someone that you want to be in business with, and you're willing to say, I'm going to mentor, I'm going to invest, but we're going to go through some things together.
Yeah.
Because we know that many times there are challenges with production and with fit and, you know, some things that you just can't control, and it happens. It happens with really all designers. It's not just young designers, but
And then there's some things you can't control, and then I'll say from a design perspective, there are some things that you can control. Maybe you're in denial of it for a little while. Because I remember, you know, at some point, if you're hearing something from stores that really, they do look like your brand, they have adjacencies that fit perfectly with your brand. If you keep hearing a comment like, okay, I put the size 8 model into the dress, and, you know, she can't even get into a size 14. Like,
you cannot get into
if it looks like a horse and it walks like a horse, like at some point,
Yeah.
it is a horse, and you have to listen.
And here's the thing, like we're in the business to sell the product, not just to say we want to get out of something. Like I bought it with intention. I bought it because we plan to sell it. And if there's something that's not quite right about it, it's important to listen to the stores and listen to, I mean, that's why I'm here in the store asking our stylists, like, what's working?
Yeah.
I mean, I can look at reports all day long, but I'm also trying on product. We're all trying it on.
Yeah.
We're all styling it, but we also want to see how things fit too.
Yeah, you've got to really, really, you are looking for people that you can trust and people that you can listen to. Because for me, what you have to make sure that you don't listen to is like, if it's a store that, has a very sexy clientele, maybe they have very sexy evening wear for sale, but lots of like good low-rise, skinny, white jeans and peep toes, whatever. Back in the day, you had a sales team and they were just like boom, boom, boom. You just sold everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then those stores would call me and they were like, hey, in the spirit of listening, your clothes, like you really need to, lower the rise of those jeans and shrink them up. And, and so then you think, well, I've always been told I should listen and get feedback. And you should. That's a good thing from people that make sense for you. And you really have to decide then, again, it's a two-way street. Sherri's responsibility is very much to be out there making sure that she is selling the clothing. But as a designer, it's very much my responsibility too, to make sure that I'm like sitting here talking to you about the clothing that she so nicely has taken a risk and invested on. So we're in this together.
We're in this together.
You're my like other wife. Could you come home
You're
and
my
help
wife,
out?
yeah.
Make a delicious
We
dinner.
make dinner with Frederick for Frederick.
Are you a big cook?
I'm an okay cook.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I'm an
suck.
okay cook.
I suck.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
an okay cook.
But I don't suck at designing.
You do not.
This is really good. So you are wearing the patent leather Brancusi, right? And this is one where, when we talk about choosing basics that are anything but basic, this is a really good example. If you get close to it, this has, all the shine to it and everything. And so someone might be inclined to think that this is like a special pant and that you pull it out at special occasions. And you're wearing it in a special way, but I would also put on like a Snoopy t-shirt and a flat sandal. It'd be super easy in this.
They're like the best. They're so light too.
Yeah.
So light.
Yeah, so this actually, we do call this a 12 mower pant, even though oddly enough, it always confused me that the rule was that patent leather was a summer fabric. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So if you read like Miss Porter's etiquette book or something,
Right.
she's like, patent
Wear
leather
leather,
can be
yeah.
worn after Labor Day. I know, but before
With
Labor
white
Day.
shoes.
Yeah.
Or without white shoes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a bad outfit. But these are great, and these are year-round, and this is a Brancusi style, and you were wearing a size 2 in the Stella pant. What are you wearing in this?
This is a 24.
24.
Yeah.
She's tiny. But this is 24. That's great. And where's it hitting on you?
It hits really well. Like,
Yeah. So we're about 1 inch to 1.5 inches below the belly button. So these do sit a little bit lower. And when we talk about where things fit, you can see that in this pant, the pressure point here is in the high hip. So when you're looking at the size grid, you want to look at what this measurement is here. Because like if someone has a really narrow hip, but let's say that if you had like a much wider waist
Yeah.
area, you can get in this and you're going to be fine. And so I know from a couple of you guys, some of you have this shape that goes like that and then comes in a little bit. And when you looked at the size grid, you looked at your waist measurement and then you bought something that was really much bigger than what you should have, because the real measurement to look at is here. I mean, you might get a little muffin top action going on up here or whatever, but that's what sweaters are for.
Yeah.
That's what sweaters are for. Muffins are delicious, so that's what sweaters
Especially
are
in the
for.
winter.
Exactly. And then you are wearing the Giselle cutout. And what's really great about this one is, first of all, if you have long hair, you can go like this.
who needs a
And if
haircut?
not, you can go like get some extensions. No, just kidding. But actually they work. I mean, you can do that. But this is just an interesting thing. You have really thick hair. That's good. Wow. I love that. But another thing that was great about this top was that when I had customers in the dressing room yesterday, there were some women who came in, and this was one of the questions today as well, is they asked, what kind of tops can I wear if I have a much larger chest? and because everyone knows, like, I know I'm always dumping on like that average scoop, and a lot of you guys write to me and you're like, stop like slamming the average scoop because I've got a big chest and that works. And first of all, I don't slam the idea of skin here. I just say, like, take a point of view. Like, if you're gonna do like the scoop neck, like, see, someone chewed this up. Now it's an interesting scoop. Someone cut this out. Hannah, she's so good at designing. But what we noticed here is that for a larger chested woman who usually feels a little too covered up and overwhelmed in a turtleneck, just having this little bit of skin, like, opened up the whole thing. And so this is also one of those things when we talk about big skin slim, this is like a good amount of little skin.
Such a beautiful part on a woman's body. This
clavicle
piece there, I'm covered
I think
up.
Donna Karen was the one who said it. She's like, no woman is like, damn, I have such a fat clavicle. Like, it tends to be like one of those things. Like, everyone's pretty cool with that. So, all right, thank you. So that really was cool yesterday, like how many people came in and getting to see like all the problem solving that had to be done. Because the other thing that I realized when we were fitting in the dressing rooms was a lot of confusion around the Liam blazer and what size is perfect. And so I'm gonna try and find
yesterday.
Yeah. And you're tall,
I'm tall,
right? And so what we really found is if you imagine like a size small or medium in the Liam blazer, right? So when you grade something, you grade in like normal increments. So if you've got this blazer, which is already designed to fit large, it's oversized. So let's say like the chest on it is like 38 inches, okay? So like normally I have a 34, 32 inch chest. The Liam might have a 38 inch chest to be like nice and oversized. Well, for the size medium, you only go like 1 or 2 inches bigger. So the size medium is going to be 40 inches. The size extra small is going to be 36 inches. You only have like a 4-inch difference then between the extra small and the medium. And when you break that apart, when you think like even of this sweater that I'm wearing, you go 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Like it's literally 1 inch on each side, and then that would be 4 inches. So the size differentiation isn't super, super great between them, but on the length, that's where it does tend to like make a difference when things are like an inch or two shorter on the length. So what we found is that if you are on the much more petite size in terms of height, but maybe you really are measuring out to a solid size medium on the size grid, that an extra small Liam blazer was not at all a bad way to go.
That's right.
And so on that blazer, really the pressure point to notice when something is too small on you is if it no longer looks like a drop shoulder. You know, like
it's
a drop
designed
shoulder
for
is
a
down
drop
here.
shoulder.
Right. So if that shoulder is like way up here, then
Let's go up a size.
let's go up a size.
Two.
Exactly. And so those are the things to look for, and look for, the sleeve length. So when, it was funny because Miranda, who is, she's 5'9.5", but she claims that she's 5'10". It's like been this ongoing thing. But what I've noticed is that when it is a taller person, that's when they size down on the Liam, I'm like, no, don't do that, undo that. So that's where it comes off, it loses the ease that it's supposed to have.
It's meant to be relaxed.
It's meant to be relaxed, so
Yes.
it loses the ease. And so then what happens though, if you are maybe larger through the chest, but maybe you're like 5'2" or 5'3", it goes from ease to just feeling overwhelmed. And so that's where I'm like, you know what, take it down a bit. So what I want to say is I've told a lot of the women here today, we were selling the, was it the Arthur check, the one with the studs?
Yep.
I'm going to find a way to get some of you guys the snap studs so that
The
you
little
can
grommet.
do the crossover. Because what was happening is when you went down a size, the one part that you weren't able to do was you weren't able to do the crossover because that was like too tight. So if I get you another little snap here, The button was easy, like you could just move it, but we like snaps.
Yeah, and you want to have
Not so
that.
easy to move.
You want to be able to create shape here too, if you want to wear it closed, right?
Exactly.
Because it does create shape through the waist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, business-wise, people have asked me, how did you start like really getting into social media and using that and using Instagram? Because you have your own personal Instagram, and then you have Mcmullen. Do you think of them differently? How do you?
So I didn't have my personal Instagram until I think last year or maybe 2 years ago. But when I started social media for Shop Mcmullen, it was combined. It was like my personal Instagram and Mcmullen Instagram, and I think a lot of people got to know me and my life, you know, being a mom and sort of running a business, the behind the scenes piece of it, and I think people really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You know, and I was happy to share that part of my life because it was like, well, this is like the real thing.
Yeah.
It's not always just like them going to Fashion Week and going to the
not.
runway shows, right? I mean, that's why I'm out of business, right? But it is really, you know, sort of the day to day. And
do you
many
enjoy
times it's
doing
like
it?
the social media or the social media? I do. We have someone doing the social media now, but I enjoy doing
But
my
on your
personal
own
one.
Instagram, yeah.
I do. Yeah, I like sharing that part of my life and, you know, fashion, but also my kiddo and, you know, all the things that I enjoy doing. So whether that's going to a museum or going to a great restaurant or working out, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you know what we'll end this on is that one of the most amazing things in the last 2 months, I've done events with Hampton and with Space 519 in Chicago, with Kick Fleet in Texas, and now with you. It is so different than doing these events a year and a half ago. And the most amazing thing that's come out of it is that we've just, you know, we had women yesterday who came in and were so really sincere about how these IG lives and
Changed their life.
Yeah,
And helped them get through last year. We heard that from almost every single person who came in.
yeah,
Yeah, and we hear it regularly when people come in and they're shopping for Tibi. It's like they know your brand so intimately because of
yeah, and
the
it's
style
not,
classes.
and
It's
this
really-
is not like, you know, people who are like, this bias skirt changed my life. I think what they found is that there is this group of people who really just enjoy talking about style and life and food and art and being inquisitive and scratching beneath the surface and just having conversations, you know, and so I am so excited to be part of that. It was very emotional yesterday knowing that has occurred and that it really was. I mean, it's just not about a dress or something.
It's
So.
not that. It's not about it's, and I say that a lot. It's what we're doing is it goes well beyond just the piece of clothing and right. You can get product in many, many places, but it is really, you know, about connecting with people and helping them in some way find their own voice and
So, you know, come out and, you know, support the smaller stores in your town. And it's not like, I don't mean like support it, like please come in and buy this $1,200 coat from Sherri. Or real quickly, this denim outfit, which I'm going to show you guys real quickly so I don't sign
So
off
good.
before seeing this. But this is our like denim tuxedo. And this is undermining my point about not coming to actually buy something, but
love this.
I'll just show you real quickly. Anyways, that's really good. Thank you. Again, size 2, extra small again. But really, go out and go to the store and just have a conversation and get out and touch something that is real, and she won't be mad at you if you don't shop. Just come by and say hi, and get out of the house.
Mhm.
And,
Come see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Just DM me if you have questions, because I know that you will. And
Thank you for being here.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
So this is Mcmullen, and she is in Oakland, California, and she also has a great website, shopmcmullen.com. Okay, bye.
Bye.